Try to let these people know I'm on. I gotta swipe out and swipe back. Alright, does it say I'm streaming? I'm streaming. There we go. Let's see if I can get this share link. Bow. Share to. Copy. Bow. There we go, baby. All I need. Damn it. There we go. Why won't this go bigger? Alright, we'll take that. Oh, I need to add this nigga. Alright, we're almost time. It's almost time, cuz. Let's do it. Boom. Let's see if it posted, cuz boy, my IG be tripping when I fucking log out of this motherfucker. Boom. We in there. Alright, this thing is pulling up now. Pulling up now. We almost starting. Nah, this shit taking forever to post. Oh Lord. There it goes. Alright, it posted. Damn, that shit took forever. I think one day we should just scroll through my Instagram on the internet. You should just see this shit.
Time in with. Today has been one of those days where you don't, or
I ain't even gonna lie. This girl asked me for money today. I don't even feel like doing multi-streaming right now, so we not finna do that. I don't feel like doing it today. Just streaming on this motherfucker. Oh, it's acting like it's tripping. Let me make sure this shit is gone. Alright, it is. It's acting like it's tripping, but we just gonna run it. You feel what I'm saying? We just gonna roll with it, cause it's tweaking. Alright, let's do this. We about to watch this podcast. And we out. I ain't even doing too much tonight. We just gonna see how this go. We gonna vibe. I don't think nobody's seen it yet. So, fuck it. Oh, I gotta send my homie the link. How the you gonna ask to watch to for money, but not watch my streams? What? This is crazy. I don't know, but we about to get to it. Should I change this? I ain't changing shit. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Where we at? Where we at? Let's do it. Let's get it, baby. Boom, shakalaka. Let's do it. We about to watch this mug. Let's go get it.
HELP.com/husband. Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. This is Murder with My Husband. I'm Peyton Moreland.
And I'm Gary Moreland.
And he's the husband.
I'm the husband.
So I was reading this statistic the other day that
I think I gotta mute one thing.
are in the percentage that listen
to Murder with My Husband, you're statistically more good looking than the rest of the world.
Where'd you read that?
Online.
I agree with you.
Oh, it's not like agreeable or not. It's a statistic.
Oh, it's like a fact?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have your 10 seconds?
I ate really healthy for like a month, and then last week I just haven't been eating the best, and I don't know. I went to put my shorts on this morning, and they were really tight. I don't think it's because of that. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really have anything.
Yeah, something.
That's just kind of what's been going on in my life. My shirts are kind of tight right now.
You're playing pickleball this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I'm playing pickleball this weekend. I've been getting some heartburn. That's basically my life, guys. Some heartburn, playing pickleball, working. That's all. I don't have anything new. My hair is growing, getting there. For anyone on the YouTube who wants to see. The front's still not growing a lot yet, but we'll take some time. We'll get there. Peyton and I are driving to St. George.
So this dude got a hair transplant, and I like how he's so cool about it and shit. But he got a hair transplant because I guess he didn't like his hairline. So we're literally watching the growth of his hair, watching the podcast, and it ain't fully grew in yet, but it's getting there, I guess. So I want to see how this shit come out, to be honest with you.
George, right after we record this, we'll be there for a few days, and that's why we're going, because I'm playing pickleball there.
Holla at the two people in here. What's going on? What up with it?
For a couple days. Sorry, that's all I got. I know that probably sounds really boring this week.
It's okay. Some people are really frustrated that you don't know what 10 seconds is. So this one's for you guys.
Yeah, it was still kind of long. Here's the crazy thing about podcasts, everybody. If you look on your app, there is a skip button, and you can skip forward.
30.
So if you're ever bored of my 10 seconds, press that baby a couple of times. You don't have to hear me until I'm talking about true crime.
You know what, you guys? We love you. Thank you for liking Garrett's 10 seconds or not liking Garrett's 10 seconds. Whether you're here for the true crime or just for the whole show, we love you guys. We are so grateful that you're listening. And I think I'm just going to get right into the episode. Our sources for this episode are allthat'sinteresting.com, stargazette.com, cbsnews.com, theleader.com, people.com, nbcnewyork.com, spectrumlocalnews.com, oxygen.com, mytwintears.com, and Dateline. Okay, so while most of us probably won't admit it out loud, we all have one parent we are, or maybe we're closer to than the other. Except me. Mom, Dad, I love you equal. You're both my favorite parent, just like I'm your favorite child. You might be a daddy's little girl or a mama's boy, but either way, that bond that you have with that parent is like nothing else in the world. A lot of us would go to the ends of the earth for our parents. We would do whatever we need to impress them, make them proud, make them feel loved and appreciated. But today, I want you to ask yourself, what would you do if your parent asked you to help them with the unthinkable? Would you risk their relationship and rat them out if you knew that what they wanted was wrong? Or would you help them in their time of desperation, even if it meant risking your own future? What'd you do?
It depends. There's got to be a lot more context in that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, dog. I don't know, dog. I'm gonna have to go back a little. I need to hear that question again. I need to hear that question again. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold the fuck up. Go back. Go back. It said, what would you do if your parents asked you to help them with the unthinkable? Would you rat them out or would you help them? I don't know, dog. I don't know, dog. I get it. It depends on what it is, but it's your folks, man. I don't know, dog. I might have to at first, I'm gonna be with the shits. You feel what I'm saying? But if it's killing one of them, I don't know, dog. Cause you love both of them. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see where this goes.
It depends. There's got to be a lot more context in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the correct answer is just no.
My video
Like-
disappeared. Oh.
Eat?
No, I'm just okay. For those who don't know, that UFC fighter that just got sentenced to prison, for example,
Oh, okay.
but he chased down and shot someone who supposedly
Appreciate that
I guess,
follow,
did kind of molested
God.
his daughter.
Appreciate
Do
that,
you
dog.
blame him? You know what I'm saying? Also, the guy didn't die and he still got 5 years. There's like a huge thing going on right now about like free him.
Well, I mean, you can't shoot someone.
You can't shoot someone, but also
You can't molest someone either.
like I don't know. It's look, there's consequences to your actions.
On
Like,
both sides.
On both sides, and
But the guy knew that. The
Don't-
dad knew that.
the dad knew that, but also don't molest anybody, and you won't get shot. I mean, honestly, end of story.
I'm this speaking as someone who doesn't have a kid because I'm pretty sure if I had a kid, I don't know how parents do it.
Oh, I'd be chasing him down,
Because, like, genuinely,
and then I would tell every single one of my listeners, all of you guys, to go to the courthouse. Free Garrett, free Garrett, free. Anyway, sorry, we're off track. Let's get back into it.
okay. So we are in the year 2017. I always, when it's like 2017, 16, 18, I always want to be like, so recently. But it's actually
No, it's not.
not recently. Okay, but 2017 in upstate New York. It is the charming little city of Corning. And that's where Michelle Knightrider and her ex-husband, Lloyd, had chosen to raise their family. So Lloyd and Michelle were originally high school sweethearts. They met back in 1989 when Michelle was turning 18 and Lloyd was 16. So after they both graduated high school, they tied the knot 2 years later in 1991. Still, they both went to college, but fresh out of those years, Michelle got pregnant with the couple's first daughter. Then they had another little girl 2 years later, and then another girl about 5 years after that. So now having to support a family of 5, Lloyd found work at the glass company the town was named for, Corning Glass, as an engineer. And meanwhile, Michelle worked as an English professor at a nearby college. This was at least in the earlier years because eventually Michelle did quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom to their 3 little girls. Still, despite being the primary breadwinner, Lloyd seemed to be pretty present in his daughters' lives. Apparently, he was often seen dropping the girls off at their dance classes in the evening, and many of the mothers found it sweet how good he was with their kids. But inside the Nyrider home, things weren't exactly perfect. As the girls got older, Lloyd and Michelle grew apart, and in 2008, Lloyd was offered a job down in New Jersey, but Michelle wasn't keen on the idea of uprooting their lives to go with him. So Lloyd went alone, and Michelle and the kids stayed back in their life in Corning. And friends of Michelle's said she actually seemed much better for this once her husband moved away. That after Lloyd left, it was as if Michelle was more relaxed, she was happier, and apparently the distance made Lloyd happier too, because sometime after that move, Lloyd told Michelle he wanted a divorce. But I do want to mention, although the fact that they're both happy or separate, this divorce wasn't very amicable. In 2013, Michelle moved into a new home with the girls, and while their custody seemed to be split, Lloyd wasn't happy with the arrangement.
He wanted sole custody of their dog.
It's always a goddamn custody battle that gets this shit popping. This is crazy. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is.
Daughters. Something he fought for years, even as the girls got older. I mean, their eldest daughter had moved out for
college, as did their middle daughter, Carrie, who in 2017 was living in Syracuse, New York, and attending the Rochester Institute of Technology. But by this point, when he's fighting for custody, their youngest daughter, 14-year-old Charlotte, was living at home with Michelle, who still had shared custody, which was why the events of August 28th, 2017 were so surprising and devastating. So that afternoon, a neighbor stopped by the house to pick
Excuse my
14-year-old
fucking camera. My
Charlotte
camera's
up
not
from a
working right.
carpool
It's
to
just
swim
fucking being an
practice.
asshole right now.
Only
Charlotte didn't seem to be home. Instead, when the neighbor rang the doorbell, they saw Michelle, the mother, through the glass paneling at the front door. She was standing on the stairway, but she was completely motionless.
Okay.
It was as if she didn't hear the door.
Yeah.
She just was standing there, and it actually freaked the neighbor out enough. They called 911 because they were like, is everything, like, what is going on? I can see her what?
Mm-hmm.
So officers were dispatched to the house, and when they get there, they let themselves in, and they found 46-year-old Michelle on the staircase still, like the neighbor had mentioned. Only she's got a rope around her neck.
Oh.
And she's died by what appears to be a suicide by hanging.
so she wasn't actually standing on the
dead,
stairs.
yeah.
She was hanging.
Well, that's
What the fuck? Oh shit. Yo. That is sadistic, cuz. Like, this nigga, the dude hung the girl on the step, dog. I don't know yet, but I'm saying it's the dude. The dude hung this. Like, what if the neighbors didn't even see the silhouette, though? How long would she have been there? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Let's go.
yeah.
It is eerie.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But there's something one of the detectives noticed on Michelle. It's this little U-shaped mark on her chin. Sort of looks like the rope maybe got stuck around her face before it went around her neck. She also appeared to have scratch marks on her face, which told the police she maybe had second thoughts and tried to remove the rope. But they can't say for sure. All they
They
know
got into
right
a
now is
fight.
that this is very unsettling.
Settling. So is the fact that Charlotte, her 14-year-old daughter, who was supposed to be picked up that day, is nowhere to be found at this point. And when police try to contact her, they can't get a hold of her. She's not answering her cell phone. No one seems to have seen her. So police are wondering, was she home during this? Is this some sort of homicide kidnapping? There's just so many things about this scene that are alarming.
Yeah, because your mind, the detectives and the police, whoever's working on this, their mind is not going to, oh, maybe she was involved, right? It's going
Right.
to, oh, has she been kidnapped? What's going on? Where is she? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Then later that day, officers get a call down at their station, and it's Michelle's middle daughter, so 19-year-old Carrie, who's in college in New York. She says she got a disturbing phone call from one of her friends. They had heard that her mother might have died by suicide in the home earlier. And Carrie was literally calling the police to find out if this was true. Now, unfortunately, police do confirm this for Carrie, but they do get a tiny bit of relief when Carrie says that her younger sister, Charlotte, had been with her for the weekend.
Carrie explains
Woo!
that on Saturday, which Michelle was
Woo!
found on.
The other kid is good. Alright, see, I thought they done killed the other kid. I could drink a drink now. I thought they killed the other kid. I ain't even gonna lie. Let's go. Let's go.
On that Monday, Carrie went back to Corning to spend the night
Night with her mom and sister before getting settled into her new apartment and starting her next semester of college. Apparently, at that point, Carrie had been back and forth between her mom's house and her dad's house, though during that weekend, her dad was supposedly at a job interview in California. So Carrie probably didn't want to stay at her dad's house alone, which is why she went to her mom's house. But that Saturday, Carrie said she didn't even make it through the night with her mom. She got into a huge fight with her mom, Michelle, over the same thing they usually fought about. She was taking her dad's side on the divorce, particularly the custody battles. So rather than spend the night there, Carrie told Charlotte, get in the car and leave with me to my apartment.
Okay.
And so, according to Carrie, the two sisters drove to Carrie's new apartment to spend the rest of the weekend there and not with their mom. So now police are thinking, okay, if what Carrie is saying is true, then maybe Michelle was so distraught over the fight and both her daughters leaving and just the divorce in general that she did take her own life that weekend in the house alone. Before she ends the call with police, though, Carrie gives them her father's number, who that weekend was apparently in California. But it seems like they have a pretty hard time trying to get in touch with Lloyd over the next few days. So meanwhile, Michelle's body goes in for an autopsy. And they determine that Michelle did die of asphyxia,
but that she likely died late Saturday night.
Bruh, she was hanging there for like a whole fucking... That's crazy. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know. This is crazy.
So this was after Carrie had supposedly left. It was either that,
Oh, I see.
that fight, or early the following morning.
I
But the
appreciate it,
medical
guy.
examiner also notices the little U mark on her chin and the scratches on her face.
Backpack.
And this is why
they decide to not list the death as a suicide yet. They mark it as undetermined
Okay.
until more investigation is done. So police are continuing to look into how Michelle died, and they aren't anywhere near closing the book on this one yet. And when they speak with Michelle's mother, Jean, she says with a lot of confidence, she was pretty sure that her daughter was murdered and this death was staged to look like a suicide.
We
Now,
watch a
look, I
murder
wanna state,
podcast.
just because someone
This is
has
one of my
future
favorites.
plans or seems outwardly happy does not mean they aren't struggling.
Doesn't mean they wouldn't take their own lives. And sometimes even the people closest to us don't really know how we're feeling.
Yeah.
But Jean, she encourages police just keep
Following the leads, but I
Appreciate
don't
it,
believe this was
appreciate it.
suicide. She says Michelle
Michelle was excited about this new chapter of her life, her kids leaving, her personal
is
interests,
her religion.
I still got some shit to
which
do
is
in here,
why
JD.
Jean
I ain't even
tells
gonna
them
lie.
not only do
Do
you
you need to be looking into this as a murder? You need to look into Lloyd, her husband that she's currently divorcing.
I do.
here's the thing.
Lloyd's on the other side of the country at that job interview in California, so he's got a pretty good alibi. And while Lloyd does seem to be dodging their phone calls, that doesn't mean police are closing the book on the murder theory or him as a person of interest.
That nigga
Weeks
did it.
pass.
There's little movement in the case. That is, until investigators notice something tiny in one of the crime scene photos as they're re-looking at the evidence. Michelle's bed appears to be slightly askew. And so they're looking at this photo, zooming in, and behind it, they notice a very faint stain on the wall that they didn't notice originally, and it looks like a blood stain.
Okay.
So police go back to the county medical examiner and are like, hey, we need a second opinion on that autopsy. And when they look closer,
They
they
find the damage to her throat
Nah,
is
I'm
not
not.
consistent
I'm
with
not.
the
I'm trying to
injuries
get this
that
guapo.
are usually seen
in self strangulation cases, which tells them this probably means another party was involved in this hanging. They also learn there was another detail about that day that Michelle supposedly died. One Carrie seemingly left out when she told police about the big fight she had had with her mom. See, that
same day that Michelle was found dead.
Terry, you wildin'. I am not out here fishing, yo. I am not out here fishing, yo. Hell nah. Y'all wildin'.
She had just had a major victory in their court case, something to do with the ongoing custody battle she had been engaging in with Lloyd for the youngest daughter, which is just more confirmation to police that Michelle likely wouldn't
have chosen to die by suicide, not after she had just made huge progress in this custody case. But more importantly, when they learned this, it made them question the 19-year-old daughter, Carrie. So they get a copy of Carrie's phone records because they want to corroborate this story she initially told them. She said she
Y'all are
wasn't at her
wildin'.
mom's house for very long
Y'all
that
are
night, only about
wildin'.
15
minutes before she took her sister, got in the car, and drove to her apartment in Rochester to spend the weekend. But the phone records
show Carrie was at her mom's house for a lot longer than she.
Y'all know I can't blow the smoke that I want to smoke because I can't smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm doing. Hey, just vibing, y'all.
She said, more likely 2 hours in the house before she left.
Uh-oh. Here we
Police
go.
are like that's a pretty obvious.
I might watch her mom got a podcast too. I might watch that after this. She do more current events, so yeah, stick around.
You would know 15 minutes versus 2 hours.
Oh, 100%.
You might not know an hour and a half versus 2 hours.
So they're like, this is an obvious lie. She obviously lied. And the fact that her mother, according to the autopsy, died that same night or in the early morning.
Red flags, man. Here we go.
It puts some suspicion on Carrie and her story. So the question for investigators was, would Carrie have done something like this alone? The other sister was there. So this is why the police speak with her again. And this time she tells them, okay, actually, my dad wasn't in California that weekend. She's feeling pressure from police, and so she gives up this lie and says, he was actually back by that point, and he was with me in Rochester helping me move into my new apartment, which means Lloyd's alibi is sort of scrubbed now, considering he was only a 2-hour.
The fucking kids lied. The fucking kids lied. The fucking kids lied. Whatever kid that is that's talking, lied. That's a liar. Now I wouldn't have helped with that. I ain't even gonna lie. I wouldn't have helped Pops with that. Nah, nigga, you killed mama. Nah, nigga. Nah.
Or drive from his ex-wife's house on the night that she died.
Not all the way across the United States. And so that's when the police take a much closer look at the family's dynamics as a whole. Because
they're like,
I do
okay,
got this shit set up different. I ain't even gonna lie.
We confront her. She doesn't really say, oh yeah, I lied about that night. She said, what? I lied about my dad and his whereabouts.
Hanging. That's pretty insane, right? Like, didn't shoot them, didn't stab them, hanging someone.
Well, if you're staging a suicide.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's all brutal, but it's just.
I got the lights and all, nigga.
I don't even know what word to use.
The police
I got the lights and all.
Further into this family's dynamics, the people who know them, they begin interviewing. And remember how a lot of the dance moms saw Lloyd as the caring, charismatic father who took an interest in his daughter's extracurriculars? Well, it turns out some of the girls' friends saw another side of Lloyd growing up that sort of scared them. Apparently, Lloyd was a really strict disciplinarian with the girls, kept them on a short leash. He just seemed controlling at times. I'm talking militant drill sergeant wanting to keep control over them, not like a normal parent control. One friend said there was a time when she saw Lloyd snap his fingers and yell front and center, and the girl
Y'all couldn't hear me, but eyeballs is fucking crazy. By the way, just that's insane. And it was dark. What else I said? Oh, god damn it, that was a crazy living situation. Damn it, I need to tell that story too about that house. Y'all gonna find that out why I had to move and shit. But nigga, that was like living in an insane asylum. I'm not even gonna lie. Scheduler on Steam. All right, bet. I will. I'll look into that.
Girls rushed over to him and knelt in front of him.
What the?
There was another time when a friend witnessed and said there was a time when she saw Lloyd snap his fingers and yell front and center, and the girls rushed over to him and knelt in front of him.
What the?
There was another time when a friend witnessed Lloyd slap the girls across their faces. This is what he was doing with friends at the house, friends in company.
That's insane.
I gotta block my sound so y'all don't hear me drinking.
For just his children. Apparently, he would also do this in public with his wife. Around 2007, he even made her cut ties with her own parents. Michelle's mother, Jean, believed that that was because Lloyd was threatening to take the children away if she didn't stop speaking with them.
I was actually reading something the other day. I forget. It was some article. And it talked about one of the number one signs of, I don't know if it was a narcissist, I forget, but was making the other person cut ties with their family.
Yeah.
Because then they have no one to,
It's
reach out to.
them.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
It's also a number one sign of a cult or a cult-like leader.
Oh, yeah, that too. Mm-hmm.
Which,
maybe that's what it was. Maybe it wasn't a narcissist.
Which also
I forget
probably
what it
have
was.
very severe narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah.
But things only got worse after Lloyd moved to New Jersey and the couple decided to get divorced. That's when Lloyd started turning the girls against Michelle, particularly Carrie, the middle daughter. Now, I don't know all of the nuances of what Lloyd would say to Carrie or her sisters, but over time,
I know Carrie truly grew to hate her.
Throat baby is crazy. Throat baby is crazy, yo. I just take pause. I can't even say what I was gonna say. I just drink luxuriously. How about that? I can't even say nothing else because I was about to say some crazy shit. Y'all are wild. Y'all are wild.
And a lot of that had to do with the little seeds that Lloyd was planting over the years of this divorce. Now, just to show you how
brainwashed Carrie was, and remember that she already would go kneel in front of her dad. She was visibly shaken. There was one incident that happened back in 2015. This was 2 years before Michelle's death. One afternoon, Michelle was backing her car slowly out of the driveway after another fight with Carrie. Carrie tried to block her car from leaving, but eventually Michelle made her exit. No one was hurt from what I can tell during this argument, but Lloyd convinced Carrie that Michelle's intentions that day were nefarious and she was actually trying to run Carrie over with her car. So her dad looks at her and says, your mom was trying to kill you.
That's insane.
It's just
That's weird.
It's
obviously.
Just toxic.
Yeah.
She was so convinced of her father's version of events that she actually filed a police report against Michelle. Although the allegations didn't hold up because there's obvious reasons. But even with manipulation and psychological warfare aside, Lloyd was also trying to ruin Michelle's life using the court system. I guess after the couple finalized their divorce in 2013, Lloyd filed 26 separate post-divorce filings, which is why this was still ongoing by the time of the murder.
He was basically suing Michelle, using false claims to try and get out of things like paying child support. And of course, as we heard earlier, trying to get full custody of their youngest daughter, Charlotte.
Now, according to some lawyers who worked on Michelle's case, it's normal to have maybe 2 or 3 post-divorce filings, but 26 is outrageous, which is strange because that many filings sounds pretty expensive.
I mean, imagine all those lawyer fees you're paying each time you head to court.
27, yo. You tried to rid this nigga 27 times and that shit didn't work? After 10, if I was a judge, I would have been like, yo, what the fuck is happening in this house, yo? Like, let me stay with y'all for like a week. What the fuck?
And yet, Lloyd was extremely broke. By 2017, he was $100,000 in debt at least.
Which This debt was due to the child support and alimony payments that he needed to make. Payments that Lloyd was clearly hell-bent on fighting. That was until August of 2017. On that afternoon, Lloyd didn't show up for his court appearance, the one for full custody of Charlotte. He didn't answer the court's emails or phone calls, just no call, no show. So the case was dismissed, meaning Michelle would maintain the custody agreement that they had of Charlotte. Obviously, like I said, that was a major win. She was thrilled about it. She was celebrating. And then she died by hanging later that night. The timing of all of this is extremely suspicious to police. Here's a man that was fighting his ex-wife tooth and nail over every little thing. And on the day she dies, he mysteriously doesn't show up for court. It also doesn't help that Lloyd was very well aware of a life insurance policy Michelle had taken out recently. And if she died, $200,000 was meant to go to 14-year-old Charlotte. Even stranger, one of the first places Lloyd apparently went after he learned about his ex-wife's passing was to family court to turn off his child support and alimony payments because his wife was now dead. So now not only has Lloyd's alibi that he was in California been thrown out the window, he also seems to have a lot of motive as well. Not just hatred, not just wanting custody of a child.
Hey, he looked cool as hell with long hair, though.
A ton of debt and money. And with police having a hard time getting a hold of him, they figure they're just going to have to corner him and get him to answer some questions. Where do they find him? At one of his favorite places, of course, a few days later at the local courthouse, settling more business.
That's crazy.
Now, once police get to talk to him, Lloyd gives pretty much the same story that Carrie last gave. On the afternoon of August 26th, he helped Carrie move into her new apartment near campus, and then he went and stayed at a hotel nearby. He says Carrie came with him that night. They hung out for a little while, and then she left to go stay at her mother's house. So he walked her to her car, said goodbye, and invited her back to have breakfast with him in the morning. Then he says he spent the night in the hotel. And the following morning, Carrie came to breakfast and met him, but now she had Charlotte. So when police go to corroborate his story, they look into his cell phone location and find that does track. Lloyd's phone never left the hotel that night. But the security cameras in the parking lot tell a very different story. It's good for you, Garrett.
It's been a while since we've had some good camera footage, I feel like.
That contradicts the story.
Yeah, I feel like it's been lacking a little bit.
Every time we watch an episode, so evening, it's never a camera.
Carrie left to go to her mother's
every
house.
fucking time.
Lloyd, her father, got in the passenger seat and drove off with her. So just because his cell phone stayed behind at the hotel doesn't mean he did. And those cameras don't show Lloyd or Carrie returning to that hotel until 6:30 a.m.
So
the next morning.
He obviously left his phone there on purpose.
Right.
I mean,
and
he knew what he was doing.
Okay, even if Carrie's cell phone was there for 2 hours, which police believe, she doesn't come back with her dad until 6:30 a.m. the next morning, and they are both wearing the clothes that they left it the night before.
Gosh.
They never changed into pajamas, which means they probably never slept.
Dude, I cannot believe that she's involved. I'm curious to see what the jury thinks.
Well, you also have a 14-year-old daughter here.
What do you mean?
Charlotte's here during all of this. So the next question is, what was she doing? So police realize this and they have a theory. They're like, Carrie and Lloyd went to Michelle's house together to kill her that night, something Lloyd was already banking on pulling off when he failed to appear in court earlier that day. The tricky part now is getting either one of them to confess, especially with how little evidence there was to prove this was a homicide. And again, where was Charlotte? So around September 2017, about a month after Michelle's death, police decide to go ahead and put a wiretap on Carrie and Lloyd's phone, and they start listening in on their conversations. Now, at first, they aren't giving them much to go off of. The conversations are pretty day-to-day stuff. How's school? How's things going? Nothing for police to get them on. So in November, police decide to sort of up the ante. They do something called tickling the wire.
Yeah, I don't like that. They should have named it something else.
Hey,
That
yo.
day,
I do not like that at all.
Hey,
one of the investigators
On Michelle's case calls
Carrie to
Nah, keep
deliberately
working.
put
Do your
her on
thing. Just
edge.
stay in here. You know what I
Basically
mean?
saying like, we
Appreciate
need
it.
to meet up with you in person soon. We have a few
things we need to talk to you about. When can you come down to the station? Carrie's like, oh, sure. I'll be there Monday afternoon. The investigator's like, yep, see ya. They hang up. Seconds later, Carrie calls her father.
Yeah, for sure.
takes the bait.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Just watch the
And when
podcast.
Lloyd picks up,
It's clear that Carrie is panicking. She says, "What do I do?" Now, at first, Lloyd's like, "Look, it's probably just standard procedure. Don't worry."
Or listen.
but halfway
Halfway through the conversation, he starts to sort of panic. He tells Carrie, "Actually, just don't go in and speak with them." He even comes up with an excuse for her. "Tell them you have to have a counseling appointment back in New Jersey. It's going to be hard to squeeze it in." Then he asks Carrie something really weird. He says, "Can you cry?" Meaning over the phone, when she calls detectives back, can she fake some
Yeah.
tears? And Carrie says, "I might," which is just bonkers. Then they talk a bit more about what the investigators might want, and Lloyd reassures her. If they were planning to arrest them, they'd have just stormed in with a warrant, not asked her to come down for a quick conversation. I can tell you one thing. It doesn't seem like Carrie makes it into the police station that Monday. So in January of 2018, police devised one more plan to try and get the two to confess. On the 24th of January, two detectives show up to Lloyd's New Jersey office and they tell them, "So the medical examiner has ruled your ex-wife's death a homicide, and we know that you weren't at the hotel that night because of security footage." So he basically says, "We're on to you guys. How about you come meet us down at the station, take a polygraph, we'll rule you out." And Lloyd agrees.
Wow.
Meanwhile, police are also showing up at
Carrie's
This nigga
door,
bold.
confronting
This nigga
her
bold
about
as
their
fuck.
suspicions
and asking her to take a polygraph as well. But when Carrie gets down to the station, she proves she's not very good at keeping up with the lies because she completely caves under the pressure of this interrogation. And here's what she says. About a week before the murder, her father went to her and unloaded his problems on her. He said that Michelle was bleeding him dry. He could no longer afford to pay for any of the things he owed her. He told Carrie that he felt like there were only two ways out of this mess. Either he killed Michelle or he killed himself. And he forced Carrie, his daughter, to make the decision for him.
Holy crap.
Now, Carrie, remember, has been being manipulated by her father for years,
Yep,
and she has chosen to side with him. She sees her mother as the evil one.
Yeah.
And so together, they devised a plan for how to get rid of Michelle. They were going to stage her death as a suicide. Then on the night of August 26th, Lloyd got into Carrie's car and drove with her over to Michelle's house. Carrie let him inside. He snuck up to Michelle's bedroom, confronted her there. Now, remember, I was like, but Charlotte's there. What are they going to do with Charlotte? What's going on? Carrie's job in this plan was to keep her 14-year-old sister, Charlotte, distracted while her father was in another room strangling their mother to death. And when he was finished staging the death to look like a suicide, the three of them would drive off into the night. And apparently, Carrie did such a good job distracting Charlotte, she had zero idea her mother had been killed
Oh my god.
until that following Monday. Imagine the trauma of being in a house when that happened and finding out later that you were in the house when that happened.
Can you see my dragon pet? Do you see it? Hold on. I'll show you. I don't know where it's at. There it goes. Right there. That's my dragon pet. My little dragon pet is right here. I don't know how to copy him to the other thing, but that's my dragon pet. It's when I'm gaming, he just sits in the corner doing shit. My little cool little guy. That's my cool little fella right there. You know what I mean?
and you had no idea what was going on.
This is, yeah.
But Carrie tells police at this interrogation she had no physical involvement. She said, I knew the plan and I was to distract my sister. I also did disconnect the electronics in the home. I imagine this means like cameras. That could give away the fact that her father was even there that night. So hearing this over at the Rochester station, police are ready to put Lloyd in handcuffs the second he enters the New Jersey station for that polygraph. Only he doesn't show up. So instead, police track his phone and find him miles away at a parking structure in Princeton,
Yeah, it's only
New Jersey.
on when I'm gaming.
When they get
I only
there,
got it on that one.
He killed himself.
I might
Lloyd
add
is
it to this one
standing
later.
on the roof of the
Building, threatening to jump.
Yeah.
For the next
2 hours,
Jump,
police
nigga.
are trying to literally
literally talk Lloyd off of a ledge. Eventually, when Lloyd lets his guard down for a second, one of the larger state troopers who was there pulls him back to the ground. Within seconds, Lloyd is placed in handcuffs and charged with first-degree murder. That same day,
Carrie,
He
his
don't look like he
daughter,
was
is
on the
also
edge,
arrested.
though. I'm not even gonna
She's
lie.
charged with
second-degree murder and tampering with evidence for her involvement in the crime.
Pretty open and shut at this point.
I mean, yes, but
there's
Lock
also
that
not a ton of
thug up.
physical evidence
Lock
outside
them
of Carrie's
thugs up.
confession.
Yeah.
Lock him up.
So basically, the prosecutor's like, I think the only way we can really get Lloyd, who's pleading not guilty, is if we get Carrie, his daughter, to testify against him.
And for that, they'd probably have to give her a pretty good plea deal.
She pleads guilty to her crimes and second-degree manslaughter.
But what does she get for testifying?
She's given only 1 to 3 years behind bars.
Okay.
But that also means
1
she'll
to
be the
3
star witness
years.
in Lloyd's trial.
Trial, only it doesn't get that far. Soon, Lloyd's defense team learns there's not just circumstantial evidence against him. It's not just his word versus his daughter's. There's actually DNA to prove he was at the scene of the crime that night. Forensics had processed some of Michelle's clothing after her death, and when the district attorney's office had them re-examined by the state police, they found Lloyd's DNA on the pajamas Michelle was wearing that night. So just 2 weeks before Lloyd is set to go to trial, the DA goes to Lloyd and says, look, we now have physical evidence. Do you want to plead guilty? And the 48-year-old
He say no.
shockingly says, yeah, I'll accept the plea deal, which was 25 years to life with the possibility of parole if he's lucky. Only it doesn't go that way. He accepts the plea and the judge still gives him life without the possibility of parole.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
That's
the judge can
motherfucking
rule,
right.
yeah. I mean, he killed someone, so I don't
That's
feel bad.
motherfucking right.
However, on
January 16th, 2020, the 22-year-old Carrie was released from prison after serving less than 2 years of her sentence. Her father remains behind bars in Elmira Correctional Facility
I
in
ain't gonna lie.
Elmira, New York. Now, whether or not the two have had contact in the time since they're in prison,
I ain't gonna lie. I ain't mad at the daughter time. I ain't mad. She was scared. She got what they call that shit? Stockholm syndrome. That's when like you like fall in love with the captor or some shit like that, or like whoever is in control, like you kind of are desensitized toward them. And she kind of scared of her dad. Like her dad would do this and she would kneel at her feet. Like you can't. I don't know. 2 years is crazy, but I don't know.
imprisonment, I can't say for sure, but I do know this. Michelle's mother, Carrie's grandmother, Jean, knows that Lloyd was
really the one to blame. So the grandmother says he had spent so much time brainwashing Michelle's children, he weaponized his own daughter against his wife.
Yeah.
And Jean told 48 Hours that despite everything Lloyd said, she felt her job was now to reverse the narrative, to let Michelle's daughters know how much Michelle had loved them, and that all she ever wanted was for her girls to be happy. And that is the case of Michelle Nyrider.
That's insane. It's just, I don't know, so many layers to it. I'm glad that, I mean, not that it makes her any better, but at least the girls like weren't there, like killing the mom. Like, could you imagine being the mom, seeing your daughters also being in on the plan of killing you? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just, the whole thing's gross and disgusting.
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting how many, like, the parents should not be involving kids in divorces.
Well, I
The
also
divorce is between the parents. Don't involve your kid. Don't start talking crap. Like, I know people are gonna probably ask me, well, I mean, my parents are divorced. I think that's something they did a really good job of. And yeah, you just don't involve the kids. That's not their issue. That's not the kids' issue. It has nothing to do with them.
Right. I do credit your parents for
Like, it
really.
surprises me how many parents involve their children in divorces, and it's so immature. But anyways, sad.
I think like the dynamic between a father and daughter, not only like planning the murder of the mother, but executing it.
Oh yeah,
That's pretty like that's intense.
yeah, it is.
You know? All right, you guys, that is our case for this week, and we will see you next time with another one. I love it.
And I hate it.
Goodbye.
This is crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy. That was fucking crazy. I ain't even gonna lie. That was psychotic. The mom got a podcast, and that shit is crazy.
You're thinking about going to therapy. And
Shut
as
up.
a therapist myself, of course
Shut
I'm gonna
up. But the mom got a podcast, and I think I'm gonna watch that too. I think I'm gonna watch that. I'm watching that shit. because the mom podcast be going with not with theirs, but it's based on current events. So it let you know what's going on like now or what has happened and what's happening now with that case or whatever the fuck going on. Yeah, something like that. But damn, that was insane. That was crazy. That was crazy. That was insane. All right, let's get to it. I like the beginning. Hold on.
You're listening to an Ono Media podcast.
Let's get it.
Good morning, and thanks for joining me for Rise in Crime, your morning caffeine hit all about crime. I'm Mama Jules, and let's start today with a verdict in the Nicole Rice murder trial. Now, I haven't touched on this story at all here at Rise in Crime, so let's start
Mama
from the very
Jules.
beginning.
That
Back in
Mama
June
Jules.
of 2007, 18-year-old college student Anita Knutson was found dead in her
I'm
bed
moving myself
in her
up.
off-campus apartment in North Dakota. The Minot State University student had been stabbed twice in the chest.
Oh,
Her father found her
shit.
body after Anita failed to show up for her work and also after she would not answer repeated phone calls. When police entered the apartment, they found Anita face down with her head facing the foot of her bed. Her leg was tucked under her and she was folded in half, so like laying over the top of
What
her
the
legs.
fuck?
She had
This
one
escalated
lone
very
blood
quickly.
spot in the middle of her back, a circle of crimson blood staining her robe. The knife that had killed her was hidden under the blankets. When they turned Anita over, they saw what appeared to be a stab wound in her chest. It was in the middle of her sternum. But the rest of the bedroom? It looked exactly as it should. Nothing really out of place, a little messy, but nothing really out of place. There was no sign of a scuffle. And her purse, well, it was right there on the dresser with cash in it. So it didn't seem like a robbery, and it didn't seem like sexual assault. The apartment door was locked, and a screen was cut on the window. As investigators worked the case, they had come up with 4 conclusions.
This is crazy.
Anita
Already.
had a wannabe boyfriend, that guy who just won't leave you alone. His name was Michael Vaughn. Then there was the maintenance guy, Marty Annell. He had the ability to get into the apartment, and he knew Anita.
But he wouldn't
Marty
use the
kinda
window.
removed himself effectively from the list for questioning when he completed suicide in 2009. Then there was Devin Hall, a somewhat
What the
sketchy man
fuck?
seen running near Anita's apartment at the expected time of her murder. Or the last choice, it was Anita's roommate, Nicole Thomas, now known as Nicole Rice.
What?
Detectives slowly worked that list.
This is
They
crazy.
weren't that interested
Already.
in Michael Vaughn. There was just really like no animosity there. Why would he kill her? But they did find animosity between the 2 roommates, Nicole and Anita. Escalating tension could be tracked in their text messages.
Hey,
Nicole
that little
had even
dog
been heard
chilling
saying
like
to
a
friends that
motherfucker
one
in the
way or
cut.
another,
Look at that
she was gonna
dog.
get
Look at
Anita
that
out of that
dog.
apartment.
Look at that dog.
Unfortunately, the case became cool. Now, I don't really want to call it cold. It was cool. But definitely the case wasn't thriving and wasn't really active. That all changed when Cold Justice from the Oxygen Network, well, they began working on a deep dive into the case and helping Minot police detectives. Shortly following their aired episode in 2022, Nicole was arrested for stabbing and killing her roommate. Now, back in 2022, Minot Police Chief John Klug
It was the
told Court TV
roommate.
that Nicole had never not been a suspect. According to the affidavit, investigators had been told that Nicole had admitted to the murder to her then boyfriend, William May. This was clear back in 2009. And detectives were also concerned with her changing statements. Initially, Nicole had told police that she was at her parents' farm during the weekend that Anita was murdered. But detectives said Nicole had told a friend she was at a bar in Russo before she went back to her apartment. Well, all that happened. And last Tuesday, Nicole faced a jury of her peers for the charge of Class AA felony murder. In North Dakota, that's the most serious category of murder with a potential life sentence without the possibility of parole. Opening statements went exactly as the media had predicted. The state argued that Nicole and Anita had a toxic relationship and that Nicole finally ended the whole thing by stabbing her friend twice in the chest. Now, the defense highlighted other potential suspects and said the charges that were filed 15 years after the crime were driven by the media sensation created by the program Cold Justice. Now, first out of the gate on the witness stand was Sharon Knutson. That's Anita's adopted mom. She testified that Anita was scared of Nicole. She was so scared, she had her father install a lock on her bedroom door to protect herself and her privacy. Well, then the state established through witnesses how Anita was found, and the state addressed the looming elephant in the room that had been called out by the defense in their opening statements. The state called Chief Del Places to the stand, asking him to explain how the Minot Police Department began working with Cold Justice. The chief said Cold Justice contacted the police department, offering assistance and forensic expertise. The chief openly admitted the help and the resources reignited the case. He said in the prior decade that staffing was a major issue at the Minot Police Department, and that was one reason the case turned cool. The chief was then forced to answer questions about the previous chief. I mentioned him before. He was the chief when Nicole was arrested in 2022. Well, there's a bit of a controversy here. Chief Klug, so the one that was there in 2022, he was forced to step down from his position just a little more than 2 months ago. Back in September, an inquiry into the department was launched over concerns of high officer turnover and inconsistencies in employee discipline. Back in September, when that whole investigation was happening, the police department had 17 employee vacancies, which is approximately about 25% of their police force. Now, as expected, the city downplayed the whole entire investigation, and that's exactly what a PR firm would tell them to do. So don't be shocked by that whole downplaying. The city manager said it wasn't anything criminal in the Minot Police Department. It was just conflicting or abrasive managerial styles. So they made a change. Chief Klug was forced out and Chief Places was put in his place, which is why he landed on the witness stand in the trial and why he was forced to answer those tough questions.
Uber Eats is delivering more deals so you can watch more basketball.
Come on with the ads, man. This shit gonna make me pay for this shit. Fuck, man.
Well, after all of that extracurricular stuff on the stand about the Cold Justice Program and about the turnover in the Minot Police Department, the state called Sergeant Goodman. He talked about how, on the day that Anita's body was found, detectives brought Nicole into the apartment just to help determine if anything was missing. He alleged she quickly said, "My iPod is missing." He said that kind of gave investigators pause because she was acting a little off during that interaction. Not really upset about her roommate, but more upset about her iPod. Now, the defense countered and said her roommate was just killed. How was she supposed to act? Now, evidence at the trial was entered, showing a video walkthrough of the 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. In the video, you see exactly what you would expect a college apartment to look like. Tidy common spaces, a little less tidy bedroom for both Anita and Nicole. In the video, Anita is on the bed. Face not visible, small blood spot on her back. The bed is covered in blankets, so if there was much blood, it wasn't apparent before they moved Anita. The medical examiner did determine her cause of death was blood loss because one of the wounds severed her heart. Now, I will say this about the trial. There's a reoccurring theme for every state witness that was in law enforcement capacity. There's questions by the defense about how other potential suspects were cleared or moved down the list. The maintenance guy is mentioned just a little bit. The potential boyfriend, not that much. But Devin Hall, the defense brings him up over and over again. Remember, he's the sketchy guy that was seen running from the scene. The defense clearly had an idea that they wanted to get witnesses to admit that the FBI thought Devin Hall was the prime suspect. Also, asking these detectives why they ultimately chose not to really press Devin Hall. When personal friends or coworkers were called by the state, a manager at Nicole's job back in 2007 said Nicole often complained about Anita even accusing her of turning off the oxygen in the fish tank, which led to Nicole's fish dying. That same coworker said that Nicole had told her that police suspected her.
She
but
killed
that
the
she should be
fish?
fine if the coworker would just keep her mouth shut. Now, this list of friend
Yo.
witnesses, it just kept going. A former high
That's
school
fucked
friend was
up,
called
bro.
to the stand. She knew both the women, and she said after she found out about the death and when friends gathered to mourn, Nicole seemed to be only really concerned about her missing pink iPod. Then another friend said Nicole was over-obsessed that she might be blamed for the murder. That friend, however, admitted on cross-examination that she never really believed Nicole could murder anyone, let alone her friend Anita. And remember the former boyfriend, William May. Well, when he took the stand, he said that about a year after the murder, he heard Nicole say she had killed Anita. He did admit that Nicole was very drunk at the time of the so-called confession. Then another former friend said she heard Nicole admit to killing Anita when she was at a party with Nicole. That friend said Nicole was upset at the party because she felt like she was being bullied on the one-year anniversary of the murder. The defense did get this witness to admit that she had a major drinking problem back in 2008, and that problem might have caused her memories to be less accurate 14 years later. When the defense had a chance to present their case, they called Doug Coons. He's a criminal investigative expert. He testified that yes, when he reviewed Nicole's changing statements in the days after the murder, they were slightly different. But he said it wasn't enough to file charges against Nicole. He pointed to the lack of direct evidence linking her to Anita's murder. Doug Coons said any statement made when you are drunk should not be given the credibility that the state is asking. Coons was also critical of the interview techniques employed by the Minot Police Department, saying they use the Reed interrogation technique, which generally leads a suspect into inadvertently admitting guilt. Coons also felt that Devin Hall, there's that name again, Devin Hall, he felt that Devin Hall was a better suspect in the murder than Nicole, and that the detectives didn't do their due diligence. And that was the only witness the defense called. They rested their case. When the two sides offered their closing statements, the defense hammered away at the dysfunction in the Minot Police Department and their unwillingness to truly look at other suspects in the murder of Anita. The state? Well, they said Nicole had admitted to the killing and had lied about her relationship with Anita, telling some people she hated her, telling others they were great friends.
Ooh, new diet? Yep. Wait. What? I'm your heart valve. That won't help with heart valve disease. Try asking your doctor to screen.
The jury deliberated for 5.5 hours, and on Wednesday, they rendered their verdict. Here, I'm just going to have you listen to it.
Dakota in District Court, County of Ward, North Central Judicial
Over with.
District. State of North Dakota plaintiff versus Nicole Aaron Rice defendant. Criminal number 51-2022 CR 00421. Verdict form. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant Nicole Aaron Rice not guilty of.
Ain't no way, cuz.
Grand Forks, North Dakota, this 26th day of March 2025.
She got off?
Is this the jury's verdict? Can you calm down a little bit, please? Is this the jury's verdict? Okay, the juror nodded, jury leader nodded. Ms. Sorgan, do you wish the jury polled?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Sand, do you wish the jury polled?
No, sir.
Nicole Rice was acquitted of murder by a jury of 9 men and 3 women.
Ain't no way,
And as you can
cuz.
guess, not everyone is as happy as Nicole's
What
family
the
was in
fuck?
that verdict reading. Tyler Schmaltz, he's a longtime friend of Anita's. Well, he said the following: 100% guilty. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. God truly knows what happened that night, and we will all stand before him one day and be judged, and I am happy knowing when that day comes, I get to meet Anita again. Now, when Nicole left the courtroom, she was obviously asked by reporters if she would like to make a comment. She declined. So did her attorney. Christopher Nelson of the Ward County State's Attorney's Office also declined to comment. All right, I'm left with something here. What's up with Devin Hall? Devin is currently housed in the Fort Peck Adult Correctional Facility in Montana. See, back in 2010, 3 years after Anita's murder, Devin, who was then 21 years old, pleaded guilty to 4 counts of burglary. Then in 2022, he was arrested again for burglary in the small town of Wolf Point, Montana. And it's a very small town, about 2,500 residents, most of them Native American, which, like I have mentioned before, law enforcement and the Native American community, they don't interact well, and that leads to minimal information available. So I don't have much about Devin Hall and his conviction. And can I veer off for just a minute here? I had someone in my reviews attack me for not representing the Native American relationship with law enforcement appropriately. And I'm just going to say it, that's not fair. I have repeatedly said that Native Americans, especially women, are scared to report abuse and law breaking. Now, I'm not here to point fingers at who is wrong in this situation. I have acknowledged the difficulties and also the secrecy those difficulties create. Throwing out accusations and hurtful comments does nothing to help fix the problem. We need to work to expose the truths and cover the cases. That's the best active way forward. I can't change what the police can do. I can change how we talk about it. And I've tried to do that. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. I was just really bothered by that review. Most of them, I just let them roll off. But that's not fair because I have tried very hard to represent the Native American community. Okay, back to the trial. Reviewing this trial, I think the fact that Devin was not examined further, that he was cleared because he was supposedly in Montana and not running from the scene, well, I think that played heavily in the jury's decision. I could be wrong. Maybe some jurors will eventually share their experience. But when there are conflicting accounts as to when Devin arrived from Montana to North Dakota, some say the day before the murder, some say the day after the murder, well, that leaves doubt. And the fact that Devin claimed he owned a knife exactly like the one used to murder Anita, and that he said his knife was missing a medallion, and so was the knife that killed Anita, well, those are some loose ends that needed tied up. Maybe it could have been proven more solidly that he wasn't in North Dakota. If it could have been proven, it should have been proven. Let's do the right thing here by remembering Anita, who was murdered back in 2007. Anita was adopted at 5 months of age and grew up in both California and North Dakota. She wrote a book in 8th grade. According to her obituary, she wrote a book and it was published, and she was just an 8th grader when she did that. When she attended high school in North Dakota, she was active in FCCLA, even receiving state and national recognition for drug awareness. Anita graduated with honors. She loved to read, play the piano, and write stories. She was studying to become an elementary teacher. I hope Anita's case does not grow cold again. The jury said Nicole didn't do it. If someone else did do it, I hope for her family that person can be found. Let me know what you think of this case, especially if you're from the area. Now, I'm going to be completely upfront with you in the next story. I'm recording this podcast about 2 days earlier than I usually do. My husband and me and my little Q, well, we're traveling to Utah to watch Garrett from Murder with My Husband play pickleball. And Daisy and Q are going to get to hang out, and Peyton and I get to enjoy some much-needed sunshine.
I'm gonna play
So I'm going to
pickleball
give
one
you
day.
the
I gotta
latest
be.
details that I could find on the next breaking crime news story before I
Oh, God.
recorded and I sent to production early. And I'm telling you that because some things might come out in the meantime, but let's at least catch you up to where we are at this point. We're headed to the beautiful state of Hawaii, where 46-year-old Gerhard Koenig and his wife, 36-year-old Ariel, and their 2 young children were living out Gerhardt's professional dreams. See, Gerhardt is a doctor with the Anesthesia Medical Group in Maui. Well, to be completely accurate, he was with the Anesthesia Group. He has since been suspended. And we'll get to that, the why of that and everything in just a minute. Let's first learn more about Gerhardt, the good doctor. Gerhardt completed his undergrad at the University of California, San Diego, and then graduated from the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. He worked
All right,
for
this is the
9
last
years as a
one,
resident
and I'm
then
done.
staff
I'm done after this. I know this is
anesthesiologist
gonna be
at
crazy.
UPMC. During that time, he also served as a professor and clinical instructor at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. During his time at UPMC, Gerhardt met his incredibly successful wife, Ariel, who worked as a nuclear scientist. The couple married in 2018.
Then about 2
These
years
fool
ago,
have
Gerhardt followed his dreams and
money.
started
His job in Maui, living the island life with his family. Now, the couple were on vacation in Oahu when on Monday, Gerhardt and Ariel went hiking to the Pali Lookout. This scenic attraction sits on an elevation of around 1,200 feet in the Ko'alau mountain range. When you get up to the lookout, it's basically a panoramic view of the lush coastline. Interestingly, the Pali Lookout has historical significance. In 1795, the Battle of Nuuanu occurred where King Kamehameha united the Hawaiian Islands after forcing enemy warriors off the steep cliffs. The king's military forces killed the invading enemies by shoving them off the cliffs.
I've struggled with my weight my entire life. I tried exercising, eating the healthiest of foods, but then the addiction side of the food comes back. I just searched for weight loss programs and life.
Foreshadowing? Maybe, because when Gerhardt and Ariel climbed to the famous lookout, Gerhardt allegedly asked Ariel to take a picture with him. When she wouldn't comply, he hit her in the head with a rock more than once and allegedly stabbed her with 2 syringes containing an unknown substance. He then tried to push her off the cliff. Onlookers stopped Gerhardt before he completed the tossing of his wife over the cliffside. Others called for help, and Ariel was rushed to a Honolulu hospital. As of earlier this week, she was listed as critical with head and facial injuries. Gerhardt fled down the mountain, but was later arrested and charged with attempted murder. And like I said, he has been suspended from his duties at the hospital in Maui. When Island News asked coworkers of Gerhardt about the arrest, they didn't really want to be made public or talk on camera, but they did say he was mostly friendly and quiet, and they were surprised he was tangled up in this charge. Sano Kauhai, she's the executive director of Women Helping Women in Hawaii. Well, she pointed out to Island News
I would have got that
that
name
partner
all the way
abuse is
wrong,
common
cuz.
and
happens regardless of people's profession or socioeconomic status. She said that domestic violence incidents don't discriminate. She then went on to mention that 2 other women were allegedly killed by partners in just the last few months. 43-year-old Janine Sturgeon was found dead in her apartment in February. Her boyfriend, 41-year-old Danny Freitas, confessed to the murder during a session with his therapist. Her loss of life is horrific, but the tragedy is even more tragic because Danny had a history and was still out and about abusing Janine. Danny had 17 prior convictions, 2 of them for abuse. For those abuse charges, he only served 181 days in jail. Then last October, he was arrested for felony abuse for allegedly choking Janine in front of her 13-year-old daughter when he posted a $50,000 bail. And in January, 68-year-old Cynthia Moore from Maui was found dead in her home after her husband Francisco called 911 saying Cynthia was unresponsive. He told detectives she might have taken a fall. Following an investigation, Francisco was arrested and charged with second-degree murder via domestic abuse. Cynthia's family said she was subjected to ongoing abuse and control by Francisco. Now, I wanted to note the entire population of Maui is just shy of 164,000 people, yet we have 2 deaths in the first months of 2025 and an attempted murder on Monday when Gerhardt allegedly tried to push Ariel to her death. Now, Gerhardt has been charged with second-degree attempted murder, and he has a bail set at $5 million. I'll keep you updated on a potential motive above and beyond the "she wouldn't take a picture with me" concept. Let me know what you think of this case. Now to this story out of Kansas.
that has
Bro, I think it's
all
more
the
people stay in
makings of
Atlanta
horror movies from
than
the
in
80s.
Maui.
A week
Or
ago,
wherever
a
the fuck they was
babysitter was
talking
trying
about.
to get all the
That's
kids she was
crazy.
watching to go
To bed. If you ever watched kids when you were younger, you know the drill. Everybody wants another drink of water, and some kids negotiate for extra TV or iPad time. Well, one of these kids in the home where the babysitter had been hired wanted the babysitter to take care of the monster under their bed. I had that fear as a kid, someone hiding under the bed just waiting for the lights to turn out before they harmed me in some way. Well, when this babysitter knelt down to look under the bed, She came eye to eye with a man hiding there.
The man rolled from under the bed and began struggling with the babysitter before knocking her and the child
To the ground and then running out the door.
The man didn't get far, though. 27-year-old Martin Villalobos Jr. was arrested and...
New fear unlocked. New fear unlocked. Not even gonna lie. I'm believing every kid when they say it's a monster under the bed. That's a new fear unlocked. I bet not be watching my nephews. They be like, Uncle, there's something under my bed. Nigga, I'm going under the bed with the gun, cuz like, hold on, nephew, step outside. I got something for this nigga. Ain't no motherfucking way. Ain't no way, boy. Ain't no way, boy. Look at this nigga, bro. If I would have seen that nigga under my nephew bed, I would have had that thigh out. I would have had that thigh out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hell nah. Oh, man.
booked in the Barton County Jail. And the hiding wasn't random. Police are saying the man once lived in the home, and a protection order had been filed by an adult that lived in the residence. Martin wasn't supposed to be anywhere near that property. Now Martin is facing charges of aggravated kidnapping, aggravated murder, aggravated battery, child endangerment, felony obstruction of law enforcement officers, and violating a protection order.
Yeah, get that nigga up out of here.
Finally, a quick update to the Karen Reed case. Okay, remember, Karen's murder trial for allegedly running her boyfriend John O'Keefe over with her Lexus. Well,
this shit is crazy.
Jury last year.
This story is crazy.
I'm not going to go over all the things leading up to today because I just have a quick update to
this
the case.
Is crazy.
It was announced on Wednesday that Karen's
legal team has a new member. Yes, she still has a legal team because the state is opting to retry her case, and jury selection begins on April 1st. So, who's her new attorney on the team? Victoria George, an alternate juror from her first trial.
Victoria was in the jury the whole
Yo, I don't even know how this lady got enough. They said she technically don't have enough money for all of these lawyers, but she got friends in high places and low ones, clearly. But I don't think she gonna get off, but she got like 5 to 8 lawyers, and it's she done beat this shit like once or twice, but they keep retrying her because they know, bro, you hit that nigga with that Lexus, bro. Like, you did it. It was a cold night. We don't know if the car slipped. We don't know if you did it on purpose, but you did the shit. They just can't prove it, which is crazy because the people that was in the house at the party were police officers. Oh, it's a lot going on with this one.
Trial, and then on the last day before deliberations, 12 of the jurors were selected
from the 16, and Victoria was not chosen, so she was dismissed at that point. Victoria is a civil attorney in Massachusetts. She has spoken to WBZ-TV several times, most recently revealing her identity on March 5th in an exclusive statement. She wrote the following: I was a fair-minded juror who left this trial questioning the integrity of the system long before the defense filed a motion to dismiss with allegations of jury tampering. It is the Reed case itself and the fact that it is still being brought that has left many in Massachusetts wary, distrustful, and scared of our system. As a lawyer, this reality saddens me even more because I remember how much faith I had in our system as an optimistic law student. Okay, all of this left me to question, can she legally join the team? Well, CBS News says yes, mostly because she is a licensed lawyer in Massachusetts and is technically not connected to the case anymore. A WBZ-TV legal expert named Catherine Loftus said the following about the new hire. It feels wrong, But sometimes, just because something feels wrong in the law doesn't
mean there
This
is
ain't
a
right for
legal
sure.
reason why it can't
This ain't right
happen.
for sure.
I've gone through, all the
master rules of professional ethics and conflict of interest, and I don't think there is legally any precedent for Attorney George not to enter an appearance. I don't think there's any basis that the court could take her off this case. Now, while I work out each night, I've been watching the episodes of the Karen Reed documentary on HBO Max. I think I'm on episode 4 right now. I would recommend it. Karen doesn't come off glowing in the documentary, even though the most footage is of her and her legal team. It especially will help you be all kind of caught up on everything as the second trial is about to start this week. Let me know what you think about that attorney joining her team. Well, that's your Monday episode of Rise and Crime. Thank you for being here. I will get to all of the comments about the glove box, and do you call it a glove compartment, a glove box, a jockey box, whatever. I just recorded this episode early, like I mentioned before, so I'll do those in the next episode. Please share this episode with a friend if
I think the volume's too loud. I think I'm done. I just gotta see if there's anything interesting. Cops face jury after shooting double amputee 11 times. Crazy work. Crazy work. I want to watch it. I want to watch it. Give me a minute. I'm not watching that right now. Oh, what's going on? My computer's frozen? My computer froze, y'all. Oh, Nokia music video is out. That's pretty cool. We gotta see that. I'm gonna watch that offline. Let's see. Let me refresh the page because something new has popped up. Let's enter and refresh. Who video was that I seen pop up? Oh, I do want to see that. I'm gonna watch one more. Yum Stacy. Yeah. This nigga got a video up I want to see right now. Where is it? What? Hold on. I got to start watching it from my phone and then it'll pop up. Oh. What? Okay, there it goes. This one.
Oh man, so crazy details just dropped in regards to the death of Atlanta rapper here in Scooter now. It's becoming more and more evident that this was a fake call or a fake story drummed up by someone claiming to be Neighborhood Watch. For whatever reason, this was a fake situation that led to them running up on Young Scooter. Now, why Young Scooter ran, it may be several different reasons. If a nigga think he ain't do nothing wrong, but he in somebody's house, they may have some shit going on. I don't want to be caught up in that. Let me get up out of here. That's how some niggas think, bro. But nevertheless, no one was charged with anything. They took the 2 dudes that was left behind. The suspects didn't find anything. They let them go. No victims were ever found. And as I showed y'all in the report from the other day, when they said a baby was there too, no baby was found. Listen to this 911 call, bro. And let me know what y'all think in regards to the situation.
This has gotten crazy.
8715, what's the location of your emergency?
The location is 27. The transfer. 1 second, ma'am, for 273 William Nye Drive, Southeast.
273 William Nye?
Yeah.
No, it's 273 William. Oh, you said Nye, NYE, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you to Cab. Hello, caller.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Do you need police, fire, EMS?
Actually, both, if you consider both. There was literally a shooting. The house, literally the neighbors next door, the house of the address that I just gave you, the 273. There is literally a whole domestic dispute going on. There's like 7 guys that live in this house.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, what is my name?
Okay. Okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, so I'm a neighborhood watch, and basically, like I said, these guys they're like selling drugs in and out of the house. All you see is guys coming in and out of the house with guns and stuff. They hold the guns in the air, and then it's like, I'm not sure if they're pimping, but it's like the situation that's going on right now. This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl. He literally fought the girl. I'm not sure what they was fighting over. If they was fighting over drugs, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like they were fighting over drugs. And then they started shooting. She had someone come over there, and they started shooting. But the house needs to be investigated. They're definitely doing illegal stuff over there, and it's disturbing the area.
Shots were fired?
I would say 3. It was 3 shots.
When did it happen?
It's happening now.
Okay.
So I believe the girl is hurt.
And they're coming from 273 William Nye Drive?
Yes, and the girl is hurt because she was like bleeding profusely, like blood everywhere.
Okay. Do you see or hear anything else?
Yeah, she's trying to get away, and they're holding her. She's being held hostage. Like, they brought her, the guy that was fighting her, she ran outside naked, and then he was fighting her outside. And then there was another commotion. She tried to get away. He dragged her back in the house. So now they're at the door, literally fighting. She's trying to get out, and he's refusing to let her out. And it's like 7 guys in the house.
Okay. Give me one moment.
There's also a child in danger as well because she has a baby.
She don't even sound distraught or nothing.
Yeah, she's naked and she's bleeding profusely.
She's saying this shit calm as fuck.
Okay. Can you give me a description of the male?
The male is like has like a caramel complexion, long haircut.
Is he black, white, Hispanic, or Asian?
He's black and he drives.
What color shirt and pants does he have on?
Blue, regular blue jeans and like a regular like t-shirt. I'm not sure. I didn't really. Okay, I'm not sure if it was blue or black.
Okay, dark t-shirt. And what about the female?
She's light skinned and she has black hair. She's probably about 5'3", 130 pounds.
Damn! God damn!
And you said she's naked. Okay, give me one moment. Let me get EMS on the line.
This what niggas gotta deal with in Atlanta, dog. This niggas next door neighbors ratting and shit. This why I don't do no crime, y'all. That's why I don't do no crime.
EMS, what's the address of the emergency?
Hey, Grady, it's Atlanta with a transfer to callers advising 273 William Nye Drive, Southeast. Let me give you a little bit about what's going on at this location. There's a male at the location that's fighting a female. She is naked. A shooting. Shots were fired. About 3 shots were fired.
Repeat the address for me.
273 William Nye, NYE Drive, Southeast.
Oh, okay. Tell me exactly what happened.
I gotta call her and let her know what happened.
Hello.
Well, before I get into that, is this a business house or an apartment?
This is a house, and I think you guys should get here quick because this girl he's really hitting her, and it's a child involved. There is like 7 guys in the house, and they all have guns. You guys need to hurry and get here before she doesn't make it.
Ma'am, we already have help organized for her. What's the phone number you're calling from? Exactly what happened?
There's a situation going on at this house. There's 7 guys that live here, and they're basically, I'm not sure if they're running some type of sex traffic. This individual, she's a 5'2", light-skinned female, black hair. She ran outside naked, bleeding from her face. She tried to get away. She was dragged back into the house, and they're holding her hostage. And then there was a baby involved. So this situation is really serious, and he's punching her. If you guys don't get her, she's going to be really hurt.
Atlanta, what's your operator number? 8715.
Why do you do things the hard way? Coming through.
And you already have PD en route? PD has been notified and...
If this ain't true, and nobody went to jail, they need to lock this bitch up. They need to investigate her.
No, I'm a neighborhood watch. I'm just literally a neighborhood watch. I'm not in the house.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay, no problem. About how old do you think she is?
She has to be about maybe, she looks a little underage, but I don't want to say that. You know, looks can be deceiving, so she's roughly, I'll say between...
Underage with a baby?
And 21. Somewhere between those. That.
Is she awake?
What do you mean is she awake? He's beating her bloody.
Conscious?
He's beating her bloody. He's dragged her back in the house.
Is she breathing?
Ma'am, he dragged her back in the house.
Okay, I understand that. I'm going to ask you some more questions. I understand you're not able to see what exactly is going on now, but just answer the questions to the best of your ability.
Okay.
Were any weapons involved?
Everyone in the house has weapons.
Okay.
The 7 guys that live there, they're roommates or something like that. I don't know if all 7 live there, but it's typically about the same amount that's there every day.
Okay. Is there any serious bleeding?
She's bleeding from her face, like the whole front of her face. She's bleeding profusely, and then there's a child involved.
Okay, is she responding normally?
Are you serious, ma'am?
Yes, I'm serious. I need to know for the paramedics if she's completely alert.
How can I assess if she is alert if I just told you they dragged her back in the house?
So like I advised earlier, just answer to the best of your ability.
She was breathing when she was outside trying to get away.
Hello, caller. If you don't know, you can just say unknown. That'll suffice. Okay.
Okay.
Is she having any difficulty breathing?
I don't know.
Thank you for that. Atlanta's not requesting for fire to go out there. Okay, we do have PD started to this location. 2 officers are en route. I'm clear on 2 officers en route. Thank you. All right, Atlanta's disconnecting. All right, thank you, caller. Okay, ma'am, I'm sending the paramedics to help.
Okay, so y'all heard that now. For whatever reason, this woman wanted to ruin these dudes' day, and it went to a whole another level that I'm pretty sure she wasn't even expecting. But when you say it's gunplay going on, you gotta be expecting for the worst. You send the police into an area saying it's gunplay, a baby's involved, a woman's involved, she being dragged and she's bleeding from the head, bro. You expecting for the worst. So I don't even know why I just said that just now. But nevertheless, bro, even the person that owned the home, he came through, he spoke about the situation, said we don't even do nothing in there but smoke weed and watch basketball and just vibe. No one comes to this crib. We don't know why the police would come here in the first place. We were shocked. Or the people who were inside were shocked because he wasn't actually there when it happened. But he's basically saying, bro, we don't be into nothing over here. And also another one of Scooter's friends was like, bro, yeah, he ran, but it don't matter if he got nothing on him or 90 bands on him. Just him being a street nigga, police come, he gonna run. Unfortunately, Scooter was getting a little older. His birthday, he about to turn 40 in a couple years. He hit, I believe, 38, 39 that day, dog. He just had an unfortunate fall off one of the fences.
Now at 5, Atlanta police have asked for the public's help surrounding the death of rapper Young Scooter. Police say that he died after severely hurting himself while running away from officers on Friday in southeast Atlanta.
They say they were there responding to reports of a woman under attack. Fox 5's Rob Durienzo was first on scene Friday night. Rob, what are you finding out about that 911 call?
Hey there, guys. Well, there are a lot of questions about that 911 call that led police to the home where rapper Young Scooter was celebrating.
That motherfucker say 5 years in prison. Swatting is not a felony offense in Georgia, punishable by up to 5 years in prison on a first offense. Send that thug to jail. Just lock that dog up. Fucking making those calls for no reason.
His 39th birthday Friday night. It's not clear if police ever found the woman the caller claims was being attacked, but now they're looking to track down that caller.
He's touching her. If you guys don't get her, she's going to be really hurt.
The woman who called 911 told operators there was something seriously wrong at the home on William Nye Drive in southeast Atlanta.
He's beating her bloody. He's dragged her back in the house.
In 911 audio obtained by Fox 5, the caller claims a woman with a child was bleeding and shots were fired.
I think you guys should get here quick because this girl he's really hitting her, and it's a child involved.
Police have not told us if that woman was ever located or if the call was legitimate.
This girl doesn't have on any clothes. They threw her outside. He was fighting the girl.
When officers got to the home, they say two men ran out the back door. One of those men has been identified as rapper Young Scooter. Police on scene said he sliced his leg trying to hop a fence. Medics took him to Grady, where he died.
One can bleed out in seconds from a laceration to a femoral artery.
The medical examiner will determine cause of death. Dr. Cecil Bennett with Noonan Family Medicine says cuts to a specific area of the leg could prove deadly.
The femoral artery is under pressure, which means that once it's cut, it's not just a matter of it bleeding, but there's a pulse. So there's an increased loss of blood because of the pulse of the femoral artery.
Fox 5 captured police back at the home on Monday. The people inside told us they were too heartbroken to go on camera. Dr. Bennett says these injuries can quickly turn deadly if there's not immediate surgery.
It's considered a surgical emergency. A tourniquet must be immediately applied, but getting to the hospital is critical.
And on Friday evening, social media was abuzz with rumors that Young Scooter was involved in a shootout with APD. Police say that was never the case, but they're now asking for the public's help to identify the woman who called 911. Investigators say that call was made from a 911-only phone, which makes it harder to trace. At the live desk, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
Wow, some chilling audio there. Rob, thanks.
But all in all, man, this man's gone. Unfortunate situation. And everyone just left scratching their head trying to figure out why. But hey, y'all gotta let me know what y'all gotta say in the comment section below. Me, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.
Don't.
Crazy work. Alright, I'm out. Thank you everybody that popped in this mug. You know, fuck with the gang. JD and Terry, y'all know what it is. Backpack, backpack. I'll catch y'all when I get on the game and shit. You know what to do. Vibes. I'm out.